And then, so I also have a site called Be.Enough.com,
Yes.
and the whole idea is helping women as they figure
I can
out
tell
being
the
enough
I
is
can tell the
all wrong.
conversation based on the title. It's a
Yeah.
great title.
So I want to ask you, what was it that told you you were enough to be a speaker, to be a writer, when two people told you very explicitly you should never do either one?
What told me I was enough to be a speaker or a writer? Um, Nothing told me I was enough. I didn't get that I was enough until I started speaking. Like, I didn't get the download of clarity, of intention. I got the burning in my belly that I tell people I started speaking so I can get a good night's sleep at night. Like, there was a calling in my belly that I needed to serve and inspire. And not as a business, not on big stages like this, not paid with clients. I spoke in alcohol and drug recovery institutions. I spoke at women's battered shelters. Like, I spoke in the trenches and the dark places that no one else wanted to go for years before I got any payment. Because that was a calling in my belly, was to be a change agent. And so I didn't get a download that I was good enough. I got a disruption that I needed to go do what God had called me to do. I didn't have a business plan and say I'm gonna get paid for it. I had a desire to create change in the world. And not even in the world, I'm gonna be honest with you, in LA. And then it was like, oh, maybe I could do California. Like, literally it was, oh, maybe I could do the West Coast. Like, it just really just kept, and then I believe when you do good and you do right, and you're responsible, it begins to take on its own life. Well, at least that's what it did for me. And so the confirmation and affirmation came after the action. So I always tell people, get in action, because the action will clear up the myth and the story that you're telling yourself about not being able to do it. Action will show you what you got to do to make it right. I did a lot of things wrong. I've spent at least $850,000 in the worst ways possible on the planet, and made a lot of mistakes and wasted a lot of money. So I did a lot of things wrong, but I stopped keeping score, and I started keeping track of what I did wrong and what could I've done, and track of what I did right that I can up level. And so I came into this very questioning, very lonely, very, I was extremely worried, but I more than anything, I wanted to be obedient. And I was willing to make a fool of myself. That tears me up. I was willing to make a fool of myself to be obedient. So it was more, but I'm kind of weird. Like, I have the pleasure of having a business doing it, but it really was almost like a ministry for me. So mine is kind of, I didn't go into it going, oh, I'm gonna have all these revenue streams. I just went, okay, what, you know what, and then a lifestyle was laid out in front of me, and I became a student of how to build a lifestyle.
Okay. And then last question, you talked about the weight loss and meeting the person you are now, which really resonated for me. I lost 92 pounds, and then...
Congratulations.
But I wasn't comfortable, with how I was, and put it back. So,
Yeah.
I'm curious what your process is, meeting, and what kind of mental hurdles came up that you didn't expect.
It's funny, because I haven't been willing to talk about my weight, because I needed to get comfortable in my own skin before I can have the conversation. So I released the weight 2 years ago, and my saying it today is kind of like sticking my toe in. Like, you need to talk about it, because everyone keeps asking me about it. Like, it's written everywhere, everyone's talking about it, and I it's not the thing that I promoted. Just recently I launched this program called Fit, Fine, and Fab, but it's not even about just weight loss. It's about everything. And so so this is new for me to talk about it. My weight was a combination of emotional instability. When I was in my 20s, I had a pretty amazing body. Like, if you look at who my body was most like, it was Serena Williams. And I wasn't sexually mature enough to handle all of that and all the attention that came with it. And so a part of my weight was putting on this jacket called weight, so that I could hopefully grow up enough to handle what that meant. Because every time someone said I love you, I thought they meant it. And I thought we'd get married after sex. Well, that didn't happen. And the pain was so big that I had to stop the pain. I didn't know how to stop the pain communicatively, so I put the jacket called weight on, so that I can at least stop the dress. That's my first time ever saying that out loud, just so you know. Well, in front of a camera. Wow. And not, with my girls having some wine or some wine coolers in my living room. So, but it's also time for me to say it as well. I know that I don't get to be a role model and select what I want to lead. Like, I wrote this in my book, leaders lead even when it's uncomfortable. And so this is uncomfortable for me, and I'm okay with that. So I also had medical challenges. And I think that we all think that there's one path to success, or there's one path to health, particularly health. And that one path is eat less and work out. And that's very necessary. And I do all of that now. But there are also those moments when there are health challenges. And my ego wouldn't allow me to recognize that I had health challenges. I had severe sleep apnea. I had hormonal challenges. I had 6 blood transfusions in 3 years while I wrote 3 bestsellers. No one ever knew. And it's going to come out now because I'm starting to talk about it, but no one's ever known that I would get off stage and drive myself to urgent care and have a blood transfusion. And so I had all this medical hell in the background, and no one knew about it, and it was adding to my weight. And I didn't want to admit it, that I needed help. I thought that meant something about me. And the fact that I was a state champion athlete, I held the 330 low hurdle records at my high school for 18 years. I made her have to be me now. And so I gave myself no grace. And I think as full-figure women, I still say as full-figure women, because I was full-figure more than I've been thin. You know, I was full-figure 19 years, so I'm just getting used to this little girl, this little lady. And so as a full-figure woman, I was so brutal to myself in my head. I was very unkind. And it's embarrassing to say that, but I was very unkind to myself about my weight. Everything else, I was decent about. Everything else, I gave myself grace. But when it came to my weight, I only gave myself one path to weight release. And if I didn't do that way, the way everyone else did it, Jillian Michaels and all the other people, then I was a loser. And it's the quiet hell that we put ourselves through. And I can see your eyes tearing up because that's your reality. And my doctor said that I wasn't going to live to see my son's children graduate high school because I had severe sleep apnea. I was over 210 pounds. I traveled over 280 days out of the year. And that's okay, you don't have to apologize. And I was a Molotov cocktail for a heart attack. And my doctor said, it's not a matter, Ms. Nichols, of if you'll have a heart attack. She said, where will you be? Will you be on stage? Will you be on a plane? Will you be in a hotel? Or will you be at home? And so I sought medical help. I'm not saying everyone to do that, but I sought medical help. I had medical support. I surrendered my ego, and I asked for help. And I got medical help. So my weight release is a combination of things, and I'm still getting used to being okay inside this skin. And it wasn't ever about being a size 8 or 6 for me. It never was. It was about allowing myself to be seen neck down. And so it's an emotional journey, and I don't think the way the health industry is operating now is going to ever fix it. That's why you lost 92 and gained it, because we never talked about it, healed the emotional reason why. I don't ever worry about gaining my weight back, ever, because I dealt with the core. I went to the seed of why I put it on, and I healed that. And so I believe that there's a healing, and I believe that it can't come from a woman who's never been full figured. And I'm not trying to apply for the job, but I do believe that the healing for full figure woman is going to come from a full figure woman who dealt with being full figure, because I hear you differently when I see that you've walked in my shoes. If I've never seen fat on you, then I can't see you as my solution. And I'm not saying that that's everyone else, but I know that's a lot of us. And so I don't even know where it's going to go. I don't know how God's going to use me in that way. I'm not even asking to do it. I just feel that same calling I told you I felt years ago is coming again about this. And so I'm just trying to get used to it. So this is big for me.
I thank you.
You're welcome.
I
I'm
thank
done.
you for